So Syria's current government ran under a socialist ticket back when the USSR was, a large communist nation. So, not they didn't run under the communist ticket. Ba'athist, which had a lot of socialist and communist sort of mishmash with pan-Arabism and nationalism. So, there they were actually a minority that wasn't the ruling elite. So when they came to power, they actually removed the pre-existing ruling elite, and a lot of them just stayed where they were living in the areas of Damascus where their historical home is. Some of them actually left the country and went to European nations. So it's interesting to note that it's sometimes those disenfranchised groups that used to be part of the previous ruling elite that are voicing opposition to the current government.
Okay, but you need to label them, otherwise we just know them as them. What groups of people were in the previous ruling elite?
It's all sorts. There's Christians and there's Sunnis. It was basically Christians and Sunnis, maybe Jewish people, but they left. So
I guess you have Armenians in Syria as well.
Yeah, we have maybe hundreds of thousands of Armenian refugees that are living in Syria, and that's become their home now. So I think they follow the same religion though as the Syrian. I might be wrong, but I think they follow a very close sect of Christianity to the pre-existing Syrian one.
There's some hostility now towards Turkey, and I can understand it completely. But you just kind of brought it up. But how come 2 years ago you were best friends with no duties on the border, freedom of travel, everything? What happened?
While I'm not privy to the inner workings and deals between governments, from what I can see is Turkey was playing a game, and it was the "we are now against Israel" game. So they had the Navi Marmara, the aid ship that went to Israel, and 9 people were assassinated on that ship, all of them of Turkish descent. One of them had a U.S. citizenship, but he was also of Turkish descent. So then you had the Erdogan, the Turkish president, say, "Oh, we are very angry with Israel, and next time the aid ship comes back, I'm gonna be on it, and we'll see what happens if they attack it. Then it's gonna mean war." And yeah, I bought into it too. I thought, wow, Turkey, finally, Turkey is really like becoming, independent of NATO, but why are they still part of it? And I guess maybe a part of it was because America was trying to seduce the Kurdish population of Iraq by giving them power, and maybe Turkey saw that as a threat, and that was part of the reason that even now they're occupying the Kurdish section of Iraq, because they don't want the Kurds to gain too much power. They're afraid of them. So because Turkey has a large Kurdish population, that might be one reason why, or it might be all part of a game. I mean, Syria really thought that that it had a friend in Turkey, but it all turned around on one specific day, where there was some reports of Turkey, some rhetoric like against Syria, but on one specific day there was a large protest in Hama. And it was out of the blue. I mean, the initial protests in Dar'a, the south of the country, bordering Jordan, they were over for months. And then Hama, which is closer to the Turkish border, and the scuffles that were happening in the Turkish border, they happened all of a sudden. Now Hama is, as people might know, has a very strong Muslim Brotherhood support. It's basically the base of the Muslim Brotherhood in Syria, and the Muslim Brotherhood's politics is actually very much aligned with the government in Turkey. They're like the Muslim Democrat style of government. So I'm hazarding a guess that an informed guess that Turkey had agents inside Hama that they said, okay, now it's time to create something. I'm sure every country has instigators in each other's countries that they can trigger when the time is right. But just going back to the Navi Marmara and Erdogan saying that, yeah, he's going to be a part of the next aid ship going to Gaza to break the siege there. The next time that they had a flotilla of aid ships, actually Turkey blocked them from entering into their waters and going to rescue the Gazans and the Palestinians. So they really showed their true face there.
Yes. Yeah. Well, some people say Turkey is secular, in fact.
Well, maybe they are, but I haven't been to Turkey, so I'm not sure what their laws are. I'm not going to comment on it, but I know that the government itself runs under a religious ticket. I don't know what it is in practicality, but that's the rhetoric that they use. And rhetoric can be powerful. It just basically makes a statement about what you want to align yourself with, and who you would like to control, what groups would have aligned themselves with you.
Okay, well, it's not a simple story, because Erdogan goes to the Arab League and says you should model yourselves on secular Turkey. I mean, who can make head or tail of it? We're wiser now.
Well, certainly it's probably more secular than something like Saudi Arabia. So, but yeah, Syria's a lot of enemies around it. I mean, no friend in the Arabs, no friend in Turkey, and no friend in half of Lebanon. I mean, we have strong friends in some Lebanese people. Not probably a large portion of the Maronites do not support Syria, but Lebanon is home of resistance also. It's home of Hezbollah. So yeah, I wouldn't count Lebanon as one of Syria's enemies. Israel, though, definitely.
Iraq has been quite supportive of Syria.
To a degree. I mean, there's recent news that the Arab League summit was being held in Iraq, and the Arab leaders said, "We're not coming if you let Syria come." And Iraq was like, "Sorry, Syria, but you can't come anymore to the party." They're like children, really. But yeah, well, why? What's not to be expected by a bunch of collaborators who are running the country there? The only reason I think that those collaborators are in support of Syria recently, I mean, they are collaborators because they are the people that the Americans, accepted to be propped up, them and Iran together, accepted to be propped up into power. So we can't really forget that they're the same people that allowed U.S. soldiers to destroy their own cities. But because the U.S. occupation was basically nudged out by Iran, Iraq is now more so under the influence of Iran than it is America. So it's kind of in a sticky predicament. It doesn't know which way it's coming and which way it's going, but it has to obey Iran to some degree. because Iran controls their fate, the government that is. If Iran wanted to, they could be rid of them. They have the contacts in all the militias, in Sadr's militia and the Badr Brigade, which is more like a death squad than a militia. But it's no longer the government is fearful of the Americans anymore. They are there. They do have the embassy there. They still have thousands of mercenaries there. So they haven't lost all influence over Iraq, but just most of it. So I think that's why people are surprised now that Iraq is standing with Syria, against America's agenda. What happened to all those thousands of dollars and lives that the American government spent on Iraq to end up like this? But it's because of Iran. Well, it's great that the Iranians have been able to puppet the Iraqi regime into supporting Syria. But at the end of the day, they are still puppets and collaborators. And Syria, who supported the Iraqi resistance all along against these collaborators who helped the Americans, we have no love for them. And we hope that one day they will face the gallows at the hands of the Iraqi resistance fighters. It's the same people. I mean, the same people that were shaking hands with Condoleezza Rice are shaking hands with the Iranian government. It's not a sovereign nation, and I think the people who suffered under those traitors, they should have their justice.
But Iraq has stopped Jordan exporting goods to Turkey through Iraq in solidarity with Syria.
I have complete solidarity with Iraqis people. They are great people, the patriotic, heroic. I'm thankful if there's any goodwill amongst Iraqi people and Syrian people. But as for the things that Iraq is doing now with Jordan, that's not thanks to the Iraqi government. That's thanks to Iran. One minute they will jump when the Americans say jump. 1 minute they will jump when the Iranians say jump. That's what they are. They're just shallow puppets. I have no illusion in them.
And that's what America wants to do to Syria now. It wants a puppet government.
Basically. But Syria looks out for Syria. You can see that by the fact that we don't have very much debt. You can see that by the fact that we maintain our opposition to imperialism all over the world. So, unacceptable. It's not going to happen. I think Syria is the straw that's going to break the back of the US imperialists.